So I'll say this. If you weren't a fan of Hijack from the first two episodes, this third episode gonna make you a believer. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Episode 3 of Hijack is here, out of a 7-episode miniseries for Apple starring Idris Elba. This one's called Draw a Blank. We're going to get spoilery on this one, so if you're thinking like we're going to do non-spoilers like we did the first 2 episodes, you're wrong. So if you haven't watched it yet, now's the time to check out. Let's just say thank God for Alice. Um, Alice walked in the last couple episodes. She walked into her office. Kind of think it was a normal day. She walked in, and some things didn't add up. She was like, "Hey, a couple of calls. This thing's off. Something's not right." And she's the only one who sort of lit a fire under some people's asses to get Zara to actually start paying attention to, "Hey, maybe this plane actually is hijacked." Thank God for her, or we would be in a mess of a situation on the ground level of this. The whole episode is called Draw a Blank, and it's because the passengers are led to believe that the hijackers are using fake weapons, that they're using weapons with blanks in them. And they are given this information by Yusef, who is sitting directly behind Hugo and Sam as far as the plane setup, sitting directly behind them, and they sort of use a translator to help them kind of figure out what he's saying. He's saying that, hey, I don't think those weapons are real. Sam is very much like, we need more proof. I don't know. I don't want to take him for his word. Hugo's like, bet, say less. If those guns aren't real, we can take over. We can do this. We can do this. We can get this. We can take over this plane and manage to get the situation in our benefit. Sam's like, let's find out some more information. Hugo's like, look, remember that gun went off and there was a bullet that went off. Either somebody would have been hit or the plane would have started going down because it would have shot a hole through the plane and there would have been some turbulence issues. And we got neither of those. So these are fake bullets. At that point, Hugo kind of takes matters into his own hands, like, well, look, you don't believe me, let's go find out some more information. So Hugo pretends that he's ill. He calls the call button, pretends that he's ill, and while he's pretending that he's ill in the bathroom, he writes a note so that he can drop it and give it to passengers in the back, but in the business class area, to let them know, like, hey, check for a bullet, because that's where the thing went off. Check for a bullet, because if there is one there and no one has been hit, that may mean that they're blanks. Sam is all about like, you are going to get somebody back there in a lot of trouble, so please don't do this. Hugo doesn't care. Hugo's like, no, if we can do this, we can overpower things. He is very bravado, like, yeah, we can do this. We can take over everything. We can take over, which is fascinating because in the back end, we see how Hugo truly operates. While this is all happening, Alice is saying, hey, when they call Istanbul, we want to question the pilot once more. So anytime that they change basically a border, they want to get called. So our lead hijacker, Stewart, brings the pilot back in, sits him down, and is like, hey, they're calling for you. And the pilot's like, look, every time that they have one of these, they're going to cross the border, they're going to want to reach out to me. So Captain Robin gives them, they ask about like, hey, you guys are like 3 degrees off. Is everything? There's like, yeah, comes up with some stories like, hey, yo, so there were some weather issues. We moved off a little bit. And he's like, well, cool. Everything seems to be fine now. Can you move it back? And he does. Mind you, Stewart is hearing all of this, and something doesn't feel right. He feels like because he doesn't know or doesn't have complete knowledge of what the pilot does or how this flight stuff works, he's kind of just out of the loss. And he's starting to feel a little bit insecure of like, hey, is he trying to, what's happening here? Like, why don't I understand this? And why is this happening? So when he takes the pilot back, he brings some of his crew up and is like, hey, look, I need you to go make an example out of somebody in the back. Something's not right. I feel like I'm losing control. I want to tighten up stuff. Nobody's using the bathroom. Nobody's doing this. Like all of that stuff ceases. Get control of this plane because we need to lock this stuff down. While that's happening, the passenger finds the note that Hugo dropped to say find the bullet. And he underlines it. And she starts sloppily looking for a bullet. She gets on the ground, starts searching around. She has seen one of the people that Stewart just told, like, hey, go lock things down. He comes back. He grabs her up and is like, what are you doing? What are you looking for? And she smartly at least took her glasses off and put them down. I was like, I was looking for my glasses. Like, cool, you got your glasses. Sit your ass back down. When she gets back into her seat, she signals that she didn't find the bullet. I turn the light on. She's like, nope, didn't find the bullet. Hugo's like, cool, say less. There's no bullet. And Sam's like, ease up. That doesn't mean all systems go. Like, slow down. Sam then notices on the screen that the plane has been corrected and going back towards the normal pattern that it was supposed to be. He gets a little bit nervous, but luckily the pilot overcorrected, sort of created this zigzag of things on the flight pattern, which is more of a signal to flight control that, hey, something is amiss if they're doing this and that. To this point, that Captain Robin and Sam try to communicate more on the screen, but it's at that point because he sees that he's overcorrected. He's like, "Oh, good job, that was smart." But it's at that point that Stewart, our lead hijacker, catches the screen and she's like, "Hey, are you communicating with somebody?" It's like, "The Wi-Fi on?" Like, no, the Wi-Fi is not on. It's like, "Who are you talking to?" He sees his screen. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" At that point, Stewart just cracks the pilot upside the head. Now, Stewart's not thinking too clearly because if he injures the pilot who keeps having to check in, you messed up your whole operation. Like, they keep checking in. You need him to be almost at 100%. So cracking him over the head isn't the smartest thing to do, but he does it impulsively. To which point Sam jumps up. It's like, "What are you doing? Like, that's the pilot. What is wrong with you?" Stewart comes in like, What did you say?" And he tries to like check him. This is when people realize that Idris Elba is 6'2", because he tries to swing on Sam, and Sam just grabs his arm and just kind of holds it. He's like, "Nah, we're not gonna do that." And some of his people from the back's like, put his arm down. He's like, "No, no, I'm good. I'm going to let go. I'm going to let go." But as long as my man doesn't hit him. It's at that point that you can immediately see that Stewart becomes like the smallest man in the room. Like, he feels like his power has just been taken away from him in front of everybody. He has no control. This man has kind of just sunned him, if you will. To which point he feels like he has to take that power back. So he has him sit down and he puts the gun to his weapon. So, "I'm going to smack you upside the head with this gun. And you're going to take it. And I want you to smile when you take it. I want you to smile and say cheese." He's basically trying to demean him in front of everybody so he can sort of get that power dynamic back, because in that brief moment, he lost it. And he doesn't want that to happen. He wants everybody here to know that he is still the man that runs this plane, not you, Sam. After a bit of a show and tell, a pissing contest, he gets the better of Sam. It's to which then Hugo is like, "See, I told you they're blanks, because if it was me, I would have shot you." So that's Hugo's another check for Hugo to say that, hey, they're using blanks. Can we just shoot Hugo at this point? I think that might be for the best. Sam then wants to ask Yusuf, like, how are you 100% certain that these guns are fake? And if so, are you? He's like, "No, I can't be certain without having my actual hands on them. Like, I would have to see them to tell if they were fake." To that this point, that the stewardess or steward, I think for male stewardesses, whatever, the one flight attendant comes up, the male flight attendant that actually helped the girls when they were trying to do the distress before all of this broke down, before all the hijacking took place. They were trying to tell them about the bullet. He comes up real quick and is like, "Hey, I hear you guys talking. Uh, the girls in the back found the bullet earlier. I don't know if that helps you guys at all, but the girls in the back found the bullet earlier." He goes back to sit down, and they're like, Sam thinks, "Yusuf, real quick, if you saw the bullet, or if somebody saw the bullet, could you be able to tell the difference between a real bullet and a fake bullet?" And he's like, "Yes." So he draws them an image of A, one bullet, B, the blank. And he gives that note. His wife actually gives that note to Sam, like, "Cool, this is the last thing you're putting us into. Don't come to us for nothing else. We out. Here you go." So then Sam has to come up with a plan to get that note back to those girls in the very back, in coach, basically. Zara calls Daniel to let him know that, "Hey, I was wrong when I told you that there was nothing wrong with the plane. There is something off about this plane. We're looking into it more, but just to kind of give you a heads up, since you have direct connection to something that is going on up there, you might just want to be aware." And Daniel's like, "Cool, I can't just sit on the sideline. So let me know anything that's happening. Just make me aware, and I can help out." And she's like, "Nope, we got it from here. Just stand down." Um, to which she quickly abouts faces when her team checks the manifest, runs through them all, and no one pops. They got little misdemeanor crimes, like somebody's got like a just got out of prison, but nothing super serious enough to consider that they would be a person that would hijack a plane. And it's at that point Zara's like, "All right, look." So she she emails it or forwards it to Daniel. Now, what's wild about this and what's sloppy is that she doesn't like download it and put it on a hard drive or download. She does it on that computer, which can be traced. Like I feel like that's going to come back to bite her in the butt. Like you just did this from company from a company computer. Neither here nor there. They find what they need. Comes back, it pops, and they find out that Daniel finds out that 5 of those folks on that plane had absolutely no information about them. Like, yeah, he found the same things that everybody else found. He's like 5 of them have no information about them, and he sends those 5 back, and those 5 are 5 hijackers. So they now know who's in control and who are the hijackers on this plane. On the plane, the operation is commenced, and what happens is one of the flight attendants go up to Stewart and is like, "Hey, real quick, if you don't do anything to feed these guys, this is normally when we would do the food card and food services part of the plane. And I'm not saying we should feed them, but if you don't do something, these guys are going to get way more untenable than they currently are. You're going to have a lot more issues." To which point Stewart's like, "Cool, no food. Give them each a bottle of water." So that is how they're going to do cart service and have a bottle of water go all the way down. By doing so, flight attendants are able to take the message from Sam, the note with the pictures and says choose one, ring the bell, and then pass that all the way down to the ladies in the back. Once they get it, light up the light to let us know which one it is. Was it A? Was it was it a bullet, or was it a B, a blank? Once they have the note, all 3 ladies come back and say, "No, it was B. It was a blank." And they get that note back to Sam. Very smart way to do this sort of incognito a little bit, move the shell game. Now, while this is happening, there is a situation that's happening, and I believe it's Coach, where a young man is having his uncle is sort of going into some type of medical dysfunction. He needs his med, and the one hijacker who was speaking Arabic earlier, I think it's Jaden, is what he's going by for his code name, just isn't having it. Nah, nope, no, it wasn't parts. And then that's getting more and more raised to the point where his nephew is kind of just like, "I don't care what you say now. I'm going to go get this medicine." While that's happening, Sam and Hugo are trying to devise a plan of the best way to attack. Hugo now has decided that he is made of some of the softest Charmin that you can possibly find. And he wants no parts of this. Like, "No, I don't think I can do this." And Sam's like, "Well, now it's now or never. Like they're using blanks. We've got enough information to find this out." And he was like, "Cool, you go do that." So once this commotion starts happening in the back, Sam uses that sort of as his cover to kind of like sneak around, lumber down, crawl around, get to the point. Because what he's trying to do is find who is the weakest of the 5 hijackers. Which one is the weakest one that he can sort of take control of to at least start de-arming them and getting the best of the situation. So Sam goes after Terry, who was the one who told Stewart at the very beginning, "Hey, they've already found the bullets. We got to start going." And they get into a battle, and it gets pretty messy. They're beating each other up, shattering coffee glasses, and like they're going toe to toe, which is interesting because it seems like Sam sort of had the one up on Stewart, the lead easier, but it seems like Terry's more of a muscle person and kind of like they're almost tit for tat. But it just comes down to a showdown where he has his gun and Sam's like, "Real quick, pull the trigger, because we know that they're blanks. Go ahead and shoot me." And while this is happening, Stewart, who feels like no one is listening, he's losing control of the plane and he's losing control of this job as a whole, because he's made calls to the person who's sort of the overseer of all this, who's supposed to answer the call, and he left a voicemail. Because essentially, right now, 2 hours into the flight is when they were supposed to start this hijacking point. So they had to move it up 2 hours, so everything's sort of thrown off time wise a bit. But the time he called them is still the time that it should have been called in, as to say, "We're go." And he basically gives them a note that operation has commenced. I've got control of the plane. All systems go. Like we're ready to go. Your move. Because he's not getting any answer from the voicemail. Because he seems to have lost control. Because Sam sort of sunned him in front of everybody. He's like, "All right, I gotta one up this a little bit." So he goes to a cargo space while this whole commotion is happening, while everything's sort of happening. He goes to his cargo space and pulls out a packet. He takes that back to the front of the plane, and he switches the blanks that he has in his gun out, takes them all out one by one by one by one, and puts in live rounds. Well, this changes everything, because like, yeah, they thought they were blanks, but now we got live rounds in play. And so as soon as Sam says go shoot, you see Stewart coming back to the situation and kind of level of the playing field. And then we go to a shot of the plane outside the plane, and we hear a gunshot go. And then we stay on the plane for a few more seconds, and then that's the end of the episode. It's an intense episode. Now, a couple things are here. Sam is giving up the leverage. He knows he is out. So no matter what happens in this, he has given up his level of I'm working for you guys. He is now known as like, nope, you're one of them. You are probably the most dangerous one of them. We need to keep an eye on you. And so we know that Terry was holding blanks. But if Stewart came back there and was able to shoot, I feel like that shot of the plane, we would have seen some turbulence happening. We would have heard some screaming. We'd have seen something. They still seem to be calm. Like that shot actually hit somebody as opposed to hitting any parts of the plane. Because I feel like that shot was kind of showing us that, nope, the plane is still fine. Someone in there got hit. Is it Sam? I don't know. But he has given up the ace that he had of being kind of like this dual soldier. They know that no, this dude ain't on the up and up, and we need to keep an eye on him. So he's sort of given up that leverage. The grounds crew now, the air control, after control, all of those folks do know specifically who the five are. What that does for them, or what kind of leg that gives them for the ground, who knows? Maybe they can find the actual person who sort of set this all into motion. But this is intense. This is a really intense episode of seeing Hugo and Sam kind of come up with this plan to sort of try to take things over, and they just go to hell quick. Some of that's because Hugo didn't help out. Some of that's because they pushed Stewart enough earlier that he sort of got on the defensive and felt like he got kind of sunned in front of everybody. And now he's like, nope, I'm going to take this all into my own hands. I don't think these live rounds are ever supposed to be used. And now what that does for the team, because I don't know if the other 4 team members actually expected live rounds to be used either. Now, if we're using this, is he going to put this in everybody's hand, or are we still going to have one person that has blanks? Because if the rest of the plane knows that everybody else has blanks, but he has a live round, what does that do? I think Stewart is coming in, trying to shoot, showing that they have a live round, and then everybody else is going to assume that the rest of the crew has live rounds. So now it's going to be like who has one, who has another. By him switching it, they now take control over again. He doesn't actually have to hit anybody else. He can probably hit Sam, or shoot somebody else in like a leg or something. But he doesn't have to kill anybody, but it does immediately give off like, nope, they got live rounds. Never mind what we said, drawing a blank. Really solid episode, but it's going to be interesting now to see that since the veil has been released and Sam is no longer has any type of ability to help Stewart, where do we go from here? And how does he get out of the situation knowing that he can't always use his muscles clearly not going to do it versus Terry, and now his brains probably aren't going to get listened to as well because he clearly was sabotaging everybody else. So it makes for good television to see how the hell is he going to get out of this now. But I'm all in. This was a really solid episode, and I can't wait to look forward to see what happens next. Damn it, Apple, you keep doing this to me. What did you guys think about the 3rd episode of Hijack called Draw a Blank? Go here, leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast by the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.